All the way from the start, I can feel it in my heart, like all the way from the start.
Hey, what's going on out there? I'm Sean Devine, and today I've got a new tutorial for you all who are recording in your home studio setups. Get a lot of questions from y'all about setting up your microphone and preamp to get professional results and to get the best possible recording so that when you send it to someone like myself who's going to be mixing it, we can do our job and really get the best possible sound for you. So there's some very common mistakes that I hear from artists who send me demos, sessions for mixing. And so I'm going to point out a couple of those and then also show you how I personally set up my mic with my preamp and the things I'm looking for, some of the things I'm trying to avoid so that you can do the same in your recording and get really great professional, high quality results from your mic and your preamp. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so I have Logic open and I'm going to record to a 2-track instrumental here in a little bit live just with the screen cap. And this is probably a similar setup to, what a lot of you are recording with out there. Again, the only difference is I'm not going to be actually recording the vocal in Logic. It's just going to be recorded through the screen cap. But I do want to open up my audio interface control panel. And this is the total mix for the RME UFX. You may or may not have something similar to this, but it's okay if you don't have the same interface. All these concepts I'm going to talk about are going to apply to any preamp or audio interface out there. So I'm going to click this wrench and you'll see obviously we have our mic power. So I have that on, and then down here we have our preamp gain control. Now I want to talk about this for a second because I think this is commonly misused to control the volume level of your vocal so that you can hear it better in your headphones or on your speakers or whatever. That is not what this is for. This is simply to get a healthy recording level for the microphone going into your interface, going into your computer system or your preamp itself. So this is just the power being sent from the preamp to the mic to get that signal up. So we're really just trying to get a nice, healthy green signal with no peaks in there. So we don't want to push this too heavily. You're going to see right now that I'm pretty hot on the gain on the preamp. This is just because I'm recording straight into the screen cap for YouTube, but I would not have this high where we're not going to have as much give per se. For instance, if I do like a p right there, I've already clip the preamp. So I want to give a little bit of room there to make sure that the artist in the performance in that mode, if they get louder for a second, there's a little bit of room. And we can use a little bit of compression to control that, although I wouldn't rely on that. I'll show you how we can do that in just a second, but I would just definitely give yourself enough room to work with. And then I'm going to show you, if you can't hear yourself, if this is really quiet, I'll show you a safer way to adjust the gain later. And the gain we're actually controlling is what we're hearing, not the actual signal being recorded. So it's a really important thing to point out. So moving on here, I do have a little bit of EQ going on, and you may not have EQ controls for your interface going in. That's fine. I'm just doing this because I'm recording, again, the signal live in the screen cap for YouTube. Generally, I would not record with an EQ going in, except for, if you do a low cut on the microphone or on your preamp, that would be fine. Anything, 100 or less, if you want to roll off on your vocals, that's generally safe. So if you want to do a low cut, not a problem. But as far as messing with this stuff on the recording going in, you want to keep that as neutral as possible just so that you can give yourself or the mix engineer more room to work. Once we get to the mixing process. Moving on down, this is my dynamics control. Again, going in, I would suggest not using too much compression unless you're really comfortable with it and you have, a very nice outboard compressor or something that you have a specific sound with that you want to keep. That will be fine, but for most of you, you're going to want to just lay off of the compression unless you do something really light just to tame some peaks. But I would just, again, leave that alone, leave it dry. And one thing that you may want to use that I use is a gate control. It's under the expander control here, expansion. But you'll see that what's happening is if the signal is below this threshold, It's just acting as a gate, and it's just silencing that stuff. So if I turn that back, you can hear the buzz in my lights. You know, if there's a recycling trash truck outside, you'll hear all that stuff. You can hear, you know, my lips, you know, if I breathe or whatever. So I'm going to move this up so that, see, unless it crosses that threshold, unless I'm speaking or unless I'm singing or rapping or whatever, that external noise that I don't need is not there. So if you have something like this, that's great. And you can also use it just on a channel strip in Logic. You know, if I went in here and I had the audio channel and I just go to utility, noise gate, this is the same thing. So you can just control it within Logic itself. I'm just using the one going in for the UFX again because this signal is live. Okay, so touching back on the gain controls I was talking about earlier, as you see in my dynamic section, I have a gain control. So I can control the level of the mic. And the important thing to point out here is this is not controlling the level of the preamp. The preamp is, the power I'm sending to the preamp is staying the same. This is just the gain of the signal itself. So it's not changing the recording. I'm not going to actually distort the recording by using this gain. And that's the important thing is, you know, whether you use the mixer in Logic on your audio channel or whatever DAW you're using, or you use something like, say, a gain plugin on the channel just to increase the volume. The thing that I want to point out is you want to be controlling the signal after the recording phase. So after the preamp is engaged, we're not trying to use or kind of rely on that preamp gain for your headphone mix or your level. This is strictly for the recording. So remember to always differentiate between your preamp gain and the gain for what you're hearing after the fact, after it's being recorded. So think of it in terms of signal chain and signal flow. The preamp is like the first, that's like, you know, just getting the signal, and then we're amplifying that clean signal later so that you can hear it and do what you need to do at that point. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to record something really quick, just, you know, a little rap that I wrote a while ago, but I'll just do it just for demonstration purposes. And we're going to keep an eye on our signal over here as I do it, because we may clip, we may want to bring this down. Like I was saying before, this is too loud right now. I can already tell you. I'm going to show you how we'll adjust that to make sure that we're getting a clean signal that's not distorting. But let's go ahead and I'll keep that up as I record to it. Yeah. So see right there, there was a peak there. So we already know that this is too loud. So what I'm going to do is, again, the preamp gain here, I'm going to use a different gain, and we'll turn this one up. Then we're going to turn the preamp gain down. So it's still a relatively similar signal there, right? But what I've done is I've just used that external gain, and then we're getting a little cleaner signal on our actual preamp. So let me pull that down just a little more. And then we'll turn the gain up here just a little bit, and then I'm going to have to bring the gate down just some so that it's picking up everything. And then we should, whoa, yeah, it's a little loud. So I'll turn that down. And now I think we should be in good shape. So let's hit record. Yeah. So we just want to make sure, staying in the green over here, even if I get loud, and then we record. I've been beating on the drum since day one, feeling music in my soul. When I had to run from all the pain in my life, white people chasing after bottles, ain't nobody tell you that the problems stay coming in, even if you got money and you hungry for the love of something bigger. I practice ball all day in my parents' driveway, gloves on, coat zip, 30 points a game like MJ. So at no point during that did we see, you know, the level get into distorted territory or anything. It was staying in that green. And that's what we're trying to do with our recordings. We don't want to rely on our preamp gain to control what we're hearing. This is strictly to get a healthy recording signal. And then again, we can amplify a clean signal. We can always amplify a clean signal later, as long as your noise floor isn't really ridiculous, which in most cases, you're not going to need to worry about that. And we're going to be able to use that signal in the mixing process to get something a lot cleaner, a lot more usable. So I hope this helps y'all. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Anything, specifically related to your mic and preamp, happy to try to help out. But if you learn anything, please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.